Domingo coming to you live from Beta Austin, and today we're bringing you Transportation Tuesday. Now, today I'm filling in for TJ, who's your normal host for Transportation Tuesday. So hopefully you get a chance to hang out with me, learn a little bit more myself, and talk about what's really cool to get you from point A to point B, not only in style, but also have everybody asking, what the heck is he riding or she riding? Now, I also want to point out that these products are not only just for transportation purposes in terms of getting you from point A to point B, you can also get them and use them so that way it allows you just to get out of the house, get a little bit of sun and a little bit of wind in the hair as well, which is really nice. Now, today's product and brand that we're going to talk about is the SoulArc Boards electric board. Now, that's going to be this board that's sitting here above my left shoulder. What's really unique about this is the fact that this company was a group of guys who essentially loved surfing. And what they did is when they would go surfing, they'd obviously get home, and they were just bummed that they couldn't take the waves with them. So they figured, what can we do to try to get that experience at home on concrete that we would get on the waves? And thus, SoulArc Boards was created. Now, they first launched with a performance board that was completely non-electric, and you're able just to ride it as if it were a typical skateboard / longboard. But this year, they launched this amazing electric board version of it. That's what we're going to talk about today. So let me grab it and talk to you a little bit more about it. So as I mentioned, this was a group of guys who really loved to surf and really wanted to try to figure out how could they mimic that experience at home while they were away from the waves. But they also wanted to ensure that they were really driving the purpose of wanting to give every boarder, not only skateboarder, but also surfer, that authentic experience of being on the waves while they were at home and on the streets. Thus, SoulArc Boards was born, and they made these boards that have these beautiful spring system built into it. So it's these spring systems that really allows it to give it that flex that's needed, to give you that really, that ultimate carve on the road, or if you want to imagine them, waves. That's this one. So let me put this down and tell you a little bit more about it. So what's really wonderful about this product is it's going to really be built for a multitude of different types of users. So obviously their first intention was the fact that they wanted to bring the waves back home with them, but it's also going to really just do a great job of marrying both longboarding as well as surfing. And what they've really done to do this is created this board that will go for up to 15 miles on a single charge. It's going to even get you top speeds of up to 25 miles an hour, which is insane. If you think about to get that kind of speed out of a board it's just out of this world. And the simple matter is that it can do it for up to 15 miles. Now, because they've been able to do a good job of blending these two technologies and these two passions of surfing as well as longboarding, they've done a really great job of ensuring that this system not only rides really well, but it also rides smooth. So it's going to ride on 90 millimeter hubs. And as a result of that spring system, you'll also notice that there's going to be a lot less road noise that's transferring from the street onto the board itself. So you won't get that harsh vibration through your body having to be absorbed that way. This will actually absorb a lot of that impact for you, so that way you can cruise a little bit more comfortably and a little bit more smoothly as well. Now let's talk a little bit more of the specifics. Now I mentioned this a second ago, but top speed of 25 miles an hour, which is outstanding. It's going to have that 15-mile range or up to 15-mile range. And now this can be charged from 0% in anywhere from 2 to 4 hours, depending on your outlet in your system. Now the motors in here are 1200 watts, and they're actually placed in dual hub motors. So I'm going to grab the board again and just kind of show you. So hub motors are really nice because they're going to provide a really clean profile for the board itself. So you'll see no motors actually built onto the board itself. They're actually placed directly into these hubs, which creates this really nice, simple, very clean look. But oftentimes what plagues some of these hub motor systems is the fact that they don't necessarily have a ton of torque, or they aren't able to compete as well with a belt-driven system on a skateboard. But I have to say, after riding this now for the last few months, and I've ridden a bunch of other boards that are also belt-driven, I don't know what their engineering team did, but they provided outstanding torque from this board. And that's not to say that other hub motors do not provide the same torque as a belt drive, but this is insane. I have to admit that it's very much similar. It felt very much like driving a belt-driven system. And there's zero lag from the remote to the motors themselves, which sometimes you can get out of that hub drive. The other thing that's really cool about this is the fact that it's got power for days. It's going to eat hills upwards of 20% grades without even blinking an eye. And I can't even express how amazing it feels to really go up these hills and not even have to worry about kicking to give it a little bit of extra power or a little bit of juice that you need to get up that hill. And on the backside, when you're coasting down that hill and you're braking just a little bit, it's also going to have some regenerative braking that'll allow you to get a little bit more juice, more bang for your buck when you're actually riding your board. Now, speaking of the board, you'll notice here on the bottom, this is actually the battery pack. So the battery pack is built into the actual board itself. And the other really great thing the engineering team has done here, because it does have that spring here, it really, like I said, allows it to really absorb road noise really, really well. And oftentimes when you have a board that has this battery built into the body of the frame itself, oftentimes you're going to get a little bit more of a stiffer ride, or you're going to get a lot of the reverberation or road noise. See, I can't even pronounce that word correctly. Reverberation and road noise through the board itself, onto the feet, all the way into the body, which can sometimes provide a little bit of an uncomfortable ride. Where this has that really beautiful ride, really smooth, all because of this really unique proprietary spring system that they built into it. Now, with the board, you're also going to have your power button here, and you're also going to see right here, it's hard to see it there, but this is actually your power meter, so you can actually see how much power is left in your battery. So I'm going to turn this guy on just to fire it up. And then just to also let you know, your battery port is right here, so this is where you would actually plug it in to charge it. And it also has a little seal here, so that way you can seal it if you're riding over wet conditions. Now, I do want to say that you don't necessarily want to ride this in really wet conditions, because these being these smooth surface wheels, you can slip and slide a little bit, especially because of the power that's built into this particular board. So you do want to keep that in mind while you're riding. Now, this is all controlled by your remote. Now, the remote's going to allow you to control your board, so I'm going to turn this on, so that way we can fire it up. But you're going to have 3 different riding modes. And the way you get into each of those riding modes is simply by double-clicking your power button, and that'll get you into your power modes. And essentially what that does is going to govern this top speed of which you're transporting yourself and the board at, so that way you don't go to speeds that maybe you're not comfortable with. So if you're obviously a beginner, you want to ride in that beginner mode, intermediate in that pro level mode. So this really allows you to kind of get acquainted with the board before you go to that top speed. Now, essentially to make this go, that is now on, you just essentially roll forward, and the wheels are currently turning. To brake, you just press it in reverse, and you can see it's just a slight movement. Roll it forward to go forward, and then back to brake. I do also want to point out, because I mentioned there's no lag between this remote and the actual motor system. So when it brakes, it brakes. So this is very responsive. It'll definitely brake and make sure that you're stopping in a very efficient manner. I will also point out that there is a button here that says reverse. So this allows you to also ride this board in reverse if you ever needed to reverse your position as well. Now I went ahead and clicked it, and I went to another mode. And so you may not be able to hear this on your end, but you can hear the motor working harder because this is now in a higher mode, so that way it can go faster for the rider as well. And then just to turn it off, all you do is press and hold the power button. And then you also want to turn it off at the board itself, and you're good to go. So yeah, so let me put this back. All right, so what you essentially have here is a really unique board that's going to give you that experience of not only longboarding, but also giving you the feel as if you are on the waves and just carving out on the water, which is really, really nice. You're going to have 3 different riding modes of which you can ride at speeds of up to 25 miles per hour. Now, you're also going to want to make sure that you have this with all the safety pieces in mind as well. So you see here, this isn't their brand helmet, but always wear a helmet when you ride this thing. And in some cases, I'll recommend to beginners wearing some hand gloves, so that way you can protect your hands, and as well as some elbow and knee pads as well. So just keep that in mind when you're riding it, especially because it can go to such great speeds of 25 miles an hour. Now, the board itself is 38 inches long, is 10 inches wide by 10 inches tall. And as a reminder, it's got those dual hub motors that are 1200 watts, which will give you torque to allow you to go up to grades of 20% without any issues. The board itself and the deck is going to be made out of a Canadian maple, and it's going to use a Jessup grip to make sure it keeps you in place at all times without any slipping when you have your feet placed on it. Now, total weight of the board is 22 pounds. And as I mentioned, it can hold riders of up to 260 pounds as well. So keep in mind, the range of this board is going to be very much dependent upon rider weight, how fast you're riding it, as well as the terrain that you're riding on, like if it's hilly, if it's going to be like roller coaster style terrain, or if it's just flat. Obviously, those are going to be different things that will essentially cause it to ride more or less about the range that they're talking about, as well as the speeds. Now, that's all we have for today. Now, this is SoulArc board. So again, if you want to learn more about this product, go over to beta.com and click on the search link to find SoulArc, where you can learn more about this product, as well as any of our other products that we have on our website over at beta.com. Now, if you want to learn a little bit more and want to really have a great one-on-one session with one of our beta testers, click on book a virtual appointment, where you will be able to set an appointment that will allow you to have a video call with, again, one of our many beta testers, so that way you can really do much more of a deep dive on this product, and like I said, any of our other products that we offer on our website. But until next time, tune in next Transportation Tuesday, where we will probably feature one of our many wonderful scooters that we have to scoot you around town. But until next time, have yourself a great day and stay safe out there.